What's up, Big 12 Nation? Thank you so much for being here on a special Wednesday edition of the Biggest 12. I, of course, am your host, Clint Foster. I know we're coming to you at a unique time tonight on a unique day, but I promise you that this was worth the wait, especially if you're of the Orange Power persuasion, because as you can see, it is Oklahoma State night on the Biggest 12. Got the hat on, got the Ride with Pride home field apparel shirt. Okay, we're doing it all out, okay? And we got a great guest for you. But first things first, a little bit of show business. You know the deal. If you haven't already subscribed to the Biggest 12, do it immediately. What are you waiting on, you crazy, crazy person? Like and subscribe at Big 12 Voice of College Football tonight. Okay, we do this thing every Tuesday night. This week is a little bit weird, but it's a fun show. We're going to play games. We're going to talk football. We're going to talk all of the great things. Actually, got to shout out Oklahoma State men's basketball tonight as well, getting a big win over Cincinnati. We're going to have a lot of fun. So without further ado, let me welcome in my guest for this evening. It is the one, the only, Cody Stovall, all day Oklahoma State. Cody, how you doing, man? Let's see if I actually got you in here. Can you hear me, bud?
You know what, brother man? I greatly appreciate it. Yes, we are feeling pretty good right now, right? Getting a win in basketball feels good over Cincinnati.
Yeah, you love to see it. But this is a football-centric show. It's voice of college football. As much as we love to talk about Big 12 basketball, the greatest basketball.
We've had a lot of wonderful basketball feelings.
Yes. Greatest basketball conference in the nation, hands down. So, Cody, I might be having a little bit of connection issues with you here, so hopefully that clears up in short order. But if you can hear me all right, the way I want to start out this show, it's the same way I've started out every single one of these individual shows. If you had to assign a letter grade to Oklahoma State's 2023 season, what would you give the Cowboys? Apologize for the technical issues here, folks. We're going to see what we can do. Get Cody back in here. Yeah. Yeah, Tim, you're right. Needs to go out and come back in. Needs to reboot. Yeah, we're going to get this thing sorted out. Hey, you know what? When it rains, it pours. I said we had to keep you waiting just a little bit longer. We're stretching this thing all day, baby. Cody's going to be here in just a second. We're going to talk some Oklahoma State football. A lot of exciting stuff to get to, though. I mean, Oklahoma State, I'll tell you what I think about their season this last year. Making it to the Big 12 title game is no small feat. Obviously, that game against Texas did not go the way, dare I say, any of us wanted it to. But the fact that Oklahoma State was able to, let's be real about it, beat the odds, get there. Not a lot of people saw Oklahoma State making the Big 12 title game, but Ollie Gordon came on in a huge way. Alan Bowman with his mortgage and his pension plan, they doing big things on the offense. And Mike Gundy had the most Mike Gundy season that ever Mike Gundy'd. You lose the shocker to Southern Alabama. You lose a couple of games that you thought you should have won if you're Oklahoma State, but you find a way just the same. Okay, we got him back now. Let's see. Cody, how's your connection now?
You know what? I hope it's good. I'm not the most technologically advanced individual in the world, but I'm doing what I can. I'm plugging in buttons here and there and trying to make it happen.
Well, we got you. Okay, so thank you so much for being here with me. How you doing tonight, man? I know you've been running around like a crazy man tonight.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate the patience. Yes, it's been a fairly precarious day for me, running around like a crazy person, right? It's fun when the weather gets cold and the vehicle decides that now's the time that it doesn't want to cooperate. But other than that, and as far as football is concerned, I'm feeling very, very, very good, Clint. Matter of fact, so good that at 7.5, I'm ready to make some money. They made it easy on me. They made it easy.
I would agree with you, man. I would. And we'll get to 2024 soon enough, but let's unpack 2023 first. If you had to assign a letter grade to the Cowboys 2023 season, what would you give?
Well, you know what? I have to go with either I'll say A minus. I'll say an A minus. I will,
Okay.
because especially after how ridiculous the season started, coming off a not so great 2022 as well. That seemed to be a large portion of the issues. And then for us to get that dialed in, not even necessarily mid-season, but early on into the season, maybe made things, I don't know, a little bit higher of a grade than normal. We went from a D to an A minus, I would say, fairly quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and talk about a Jekyll and a Hyde season. I mean, you go from really the lowest of lows to Southern Alabama. Like, what even is this team? What are we doing? To there you are playing in Arlington with an opportunity to ruin Texas season. Of course, didn't turn out quite how we all wanted it to. But yeah, I feel like if I'm an Oklahoma State fan, I'm feeling pretty dang good about not only last year, but moving forward. Would you say, first of all, that Southern Alabama was the low point last season?
Yeah, I think that was the eye opener, right? I think that when that happens, everybody really has to take a step back. Now, I will say what happened right after that against Iowa State, right? That was like, so if the South Alabama game was the black eye, the Iowa State was just the rubbing in of, the salt in the wound style of equation. It was just when you knew you had to do something fairly drastic or this thing was going to get completely out of control. Because again, going back to 2022, people tend to forget we lost like 7 of our last 8 games. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we rolled into 2023 with a whole lot of pizzazz. And then obviously we start 2-2, and it was just a very, very lackluster beginning. And then for Mike Gundy to turn it around, I mean, Clint, you've covered the game, you've watched the game, you've been around the game long enough to know that typically when you're going that far backwards, you don't flip it around and win 6 in a row and then get yourself in a position to play for a Big 12 title. Now, the Texas that played against Texas Tech, unfortunately, was the real deal, and they showed up and did it to us too in Arlington. But there was hope that if the Texas that showed up before Texas Tech, we would have had a chance. But unfortunately, they put their big boy panties on, and they taught us a thing or two. And that's okay, because here's the deal, Clint. They're gone. They're gone. And,
good riddance.
Texas wasn't a massive thorn in the side of Oklahoma State over the last 13 years, right? They just weren't. Now, they beat us up last year, but previous to that, we had the OU problem. That was the issue. The playing for 7 de facto or legitimate Big 12 titles and not being able to do that, all because of Bedlam losses. That's what killed us. So again, they're gone. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but my show the other day, I had TCU in the Hammer of the Over Club with us because I'm definitely putting some money down on TCU's over. I'm putting some money down on Houston's over. Those are some teams. And then 7.5 for us. Love him or hate him, there's times where we all do both as Cowboy fans with Mike Gundy. Going under 7 wins, it doesn't really happen, right? Yeah. So 7.5 with 20.5 returning starters, sure, yeah, take my money.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State is in a very good spot going into next year. Very good. Well, we can't stop the 2023 conversation without talking about that Bedlam win. Massive win, and you love to send OU out with a loss. Eternal scoreboard against those Land Steelers. Man, yeah. Walk me through your emotions, specifically at the end of that 27-24 victory. The no-call pass interference that Oklahoma fans are going to be crying about for decades. Just recount it. Relive it with me.
Well, I can tell you this. I've had the pleasure of going to games at that stadium since, the early 90s, right? My dad got season tickets in 97, and it's been an ongoing thing. So I've seen many a Bedlam. I've been a part of some massive crowds. One thing I will say, so you know how Boone Pickens Stadium went from like 62,000 capacity to like 56,000 capacity to upgrade the seats and all that fun pizzazz? I'm telling you right here, right now, there was definitely over 60,000 people in that stadium. So shout out to the people that allowed that to happen. I know, right? Maybe somebody just got in trouble, but they were just, as long as you were cool, they were allowing people to line the breezeways. And it felt that electric. It was that way. And by the way, the one call, right? Every fan base sometimes has the propensity to lean towards one call, like the other 700 decisions in the game didn't matter. But he also, Drake Stoops, he stepped out of bounds. I'm just going to throw that out there. I mean, yeah, well, could it have been a flag? 100%. But, another fun little thing. So they had a discussion beforehand with the referees, both coaches, and the refs let them know that we're just going to let this thing fly for the most part. So there was 22 penalties not called throughout the entirety of the game. A large propensity of those weren't just Oklahoma State. So people can say what they want, but we did it when it mattered, and the electricity in the building was absolutely crazy. I've never heard it like that before. The only other time I felt like it was really close recently was when Trayvon Boykin and the number 3 Horned Frogs came to Stillwater.
You gotta bring that up, bro.
We had a little over 61,000 there, and that
I was
day
among
was
them.
wild.
I was among them. I was there for that game when our 2015.
So there you go. Bedlam was like that with a little, obviously a little extra, right? Because we were ready to throw hands on that day, and we showed it on the field.
Well, and the atmosphere was great at the beginning of that 2015 game, but not really at the end because it just turned into a bloodbath. I mean, Josh Doxson got hurt. Trayvon Boykin very much lost his Heisman that night. I mean, that was just a miserable – that was a classic Oklahoma State ruining someone's season moment.
One of the saving graces for you is at least you can think back and remember that there was like 7 NFL Cowboys on that squad. So
that's true. Yeah.
You know what?
No,
it's not like it was like
– I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
that.
Yeah. Well, just to get back at you for bringing up 2015, let's now talk about what happened after Oklahoma, that trip to UCF. I would say this was even more shocking than Southern Alabama because, you might expect Gundy to drop a crazy G5 game early in the season. It's happened against like Central Michigan, other teams. But that 45-3 loss to UCF, my jaw dropped, and I think most of the country's jaw dropped after that. What do you make of this? Is this just, again, Gundy being Gundy, or is it like the emotional high of the week before and then the coming down after that? What did you make of that UCF loss?
Well, I do think that you got to give credit where credit's due. The game plan was good, but I also think that was one of the few times that people nationally got to see that Alan Bowman does a lot of really awesome things. Yeah. But if Alan Bowman is asked, at least last season, to literally throw the team on your shoulders because we have to do it wasn't going to work, and it didn't work. And once it starts pouring down rain and we're down 20 points, we have no choice but to throw it all over the yard. Having Ollie Gordon, it becomes slightly insignificant because you're having to chunk it all over the yard and you're dropping passes and we're throwing the ball in the middle of nowhere. It just got out of hand. And then offensively, we look like the play calling went out of hand as well because we were just like, well, let's just, go back to the playground and toss it up and see what happens. And what happens is they got it and went the other way. But,
Yeah, it'd be that way sometimes, right? But still, I think A- is a very adequate grade for that season. Making it to the Big 12 title game, turning the ship around after the rocky start, winning the Texas Bowl against Texas A&M, even though they were missing a lot of players. It's always a good time to beat Texas A&M. Always a good time to beat anybody who has left this conference, right? Because screw those guys. Anybody from the SEC, especially, with former Big 12 ties. So, yeah, well, now going into next season, you said you're hammering the over. I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
Give me all of your reasons for optimism going into 2024.
Well, like I brought up a little bit earlier, like, dude, I have never in my life ever seen a team bring technically 20 starters. But if you take into consideration Lyric Rawls was the starting safety for the first like 5-6 games and he got hurt, he's back as well. So almost you're talking 21 of 22 returning starters from a 10-win ball club. Like, people are not really taking that into consideration. No matter what you feel about, no matter what anybody feels about Alan Bowman or some of the wide receivers, when you have 6 offensive linemen returning with Ollie Gordon, I mean, what do you? We're not going to need to junk it all over the yard. I mean, teams are going to show up and show out to try to stop Ollie. That's fine. Has Oklahoma State ever had an issue with wide receivers?
Not that I can think of.
If people are going to sell out for Ollie, okay, we have ways around that too.
Yeah,
I'm excited, man.
Excited. I mean, and I didn't even realize it was 20 or essentially 21 returning starters.
And
I mean,
like
that's absurd.
I think TCU is going to be.
Yeah, I'm looking for a bounce back from us too.
Some money lines on as well.
Yeah, I'm looking for a bounce back from us too. I also really like the way our schedule lines up. But let's look at, speaking of schedules, let's look at y'all's 2024 schedule since it is official now.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to go to Fort Worth.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got y'all back. Wait, do we have? Yeah. After hopefully not getting some 2022 revenge, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, what were your immediate takeaways with the schedule? Oh, we got more technical issues. I'll tell you one thing, just while we wait to get Cody back. This Arkansas game was an interesting one for me. That's one of those games where you're sitting there looking at it on the schedule like, how has that not been a rivalry this whole time? You know, Fayetteville and Stillwater are actually so close together. You know, it's going to be interesting to see those two match up, especially since Arkansas, I mean, that should be relatively easy win. You got a lot of these non-conference games have some regional appeal here, Arkansas and Tulsa. And then they got a really tough start to the conference. So we're going to find out real quick if Oklahoma State is for real with these first 3 games, Utah, Kansas State, and West Virginia. Now, you only go on the road for one of those. And, you know, Utah may be about ready to find out what's going to happen to them when they're walking into Stillwater. It's a kind of a little bit of a different atmosphere than any place they've played in the Pac-12. But we'll see how they're able to do that. Got your back, bud?
Well, maybe if you, I don't know if you do awards or not, but if you're going to give out an award for the Jack Wagon of the Year internet, I might be able to throw my hat. Actually,
we're making it through. You know, we're faking it until we make it around, Cody. It's the biggest 12. We do it.
I see. We're looking at the schedule here, though. That's fun.
Yes. Looking at the schedule. So I'll give you some of my thoughts here in a second. But what were your immediate takeaways when you saw the official schedule release? You there, Code? Man, Joey, you're not kidding. This man needs to get out of West Virginia where he gets some something better than dial-up internet, right? Okay, what you got, Tim? So, Clint, I have a question for you and Cody. Who do you think plays in the Big 12 championship game of football this year? Okay, well, we'll get to that, Tim. I'll put a pin in that for now. So, Cody, I didn't hear anything that you just said, and we're losing you again. Okay. So, Cody will come back when he comes back. Like I was saying, these first 3 games, very tough. We're going to find out really quick if Oklahoma State is for real. If they truly, we're going to find out between Utah, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State, 3 teams that are a lot of people's darlings going into the Big 12 this next year. We're going to find out real quick which one of them is for real, right? Who is going to really assert themselves up front. They got a nice soft October going into November, very manageable right there. And then you get a couple of tougher games to close out the schedule. I mean, I think TCU will be playing well by the time November comes around. The Carter will be rocking for another Oklahoma State game. Texas Tech, I think, is on the up and up. You know, we had the Gambling Gauchos on the show last week, and then Colorado in Colorado. I mean, is anyone still going to be healthy by that point in the season? Who's to say? Whenever we get Cody back, we will get his thoughts on the schedule. But yeah, I think he's 100% right. If you are betting guys and gals out there, go ahead and hammer that over. Yeah, because Oklahoma State, I'd be shocked if Oklahoma State loses more than 7 games, right? They're going to win. They're going to match that total. They're going to go above it. Absolutely. You got, 21 returning starters. This is, that is, the hype could not be oversold, right? And with this brand new wide open Big 12. Let's see if he's sent me a text here or anything. Figure out what's going on. Might just be rebooting his computer there. But yeah, something that I did want to bring up to Cody, and I'll go ahead and talk with y'all about, is just the sheer number of alternate Pistol Petes that exist out here in the world. And it's worth talking about which is the best Pistol Pete. A lot of people are partial to the wrestling Pistol Pete and his leotard with his boots on, right? The only Pistol Pete that wears orange boots, by the way. I got to tell you, personally, I'm a fan of the culinary arts Pistol Pete. He's not showing up on this image right here, but he's wearing a little chef's hat, and he looks like the most grumpiest chef you could possibly imagine. All right, do we have Cody back now? Let's see. All right. Okay, I've been riffing about Pistol Pete's. Cody, do I have you back?
Yeah. Hey, 12 times the charm.
Yes. Okay. So, once again, what were your thoughts on Oklahoma State's schedule whenever you saw it? Initial takeaways.
It's not as easy as last season, but I would say the thing I put out there was it's very manageable, right? There's nothing on there that's too crazy. South Dakota State is not going to be easy, right? They've won back-to-back FCS titles. They've won 29 games in a row, right? So it's not going to be simple. It's a game we should win. Same with Arkansas. Arkansas has lost a decent amount in the transfer portal. Therefore, it should be a game that we win. Plus, it's also in Stillwater. That's going to help as well. You go on the road to Tulsa. Tulsa's not the easiest opponent in the world, but again, it's a game you should win. Utah.
I can't believe y'all are playing at Tulsa, by the way. That's wild. That stadium is so tiny. Teeny, tiny school.
It's one of those deals where, they come to our place twice. We go up there once, right? Because it's essentially right down the road. And it's kind of fun because they've got a decent amount of former Cowboys. So it's going to be kind of fun to watch.
Well,
and then obviously Utah's going to be scary. I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the beginning, because these first 3 games, I was saying when we lost you the first time, we're going to find out real quick who's for real in this conference race with this entrance into the Big 12 slate. So talk about Utah, Kansas State, West Virginia. What do you think about back-to-back those 3 teams?
That's not fun, dude. That's not fun at all. That's what that is, right? So you have a bona fide certified 9-10 win club, and then another bona fide certified 9-10 win club, and then another one right behind that, right? West Virginia is not getting enough love. I've got the hammer the over club for West Virginia as well, FYI, because they're returning a bunch of talent too. I mean, they may have lost obviously a few key pieces, but it's not like they had an overabundance to replace. And I will say that out of Oklahoma State, we only had 8 players leave from the transfer portal. There was only one of the 8 that really, really is going to hurt, and that's Jaden Bray, who went to West Virginia. So I think they got a big-time wide receiver there, which is going to be a big weapon for Garrett Green. So out of that 3-game stretch, man, I think going undefeated is impossible, right? We're going to lose one of those 3. It just is what it is. The question is, which one, if not 2 of those? And that's kind of the scary part, because Utah, they're going to be fresh. They're going to be healthy there. That's a problem, right? Now, one of the benefits, if you're playing one of these teams in the latter half of the season, like a Colorado, is they're not going to be quite. I know people are going to say, well, they were great in the Pac-12, so Utah's 100% ready. They'll be ready then week 4, yeah, sure. But I don't know if they're too deep. I don't know if they're too deep is going to be sufficient. come week 11. So if you get Utah late, you're probably in a good spot.
Yeah. Also, bro, I mean, a lot of people forget Utah played Baylor early on in the season last year and looked like absolute trash. I mean, like, miss me with this go ahead and crown Utah business. I think, show me something, right? Prove it to me before you start talking about the back-to-back Rose Bowl participants, are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the Big 12. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's kind of like KU, right? If Jalen Daniels stays healthy, they're a Big 12 title team. If Cam Rising stays healthy the entire year, they're a Big 12 caliber team. But the problem is they lost both of their backup quarterbacks, which were both pretty daggone good, right? So if Cam Rising does get hurt, and we all know he has a propensity to get hurt, then Utah might be going from an 11-win club to an 8-win club because they don't have the depth that Oklahoma State has, that a Kansas State has, that a TCU has, that even a Texas Tech has. I mean, it's gonna be a hard reality, I think, for them. If they stay crazy healthy, it's a different story. But BYU, right? They played Baylor a couple of years ago. They lost. He said, he said, well, as we prepare for the Big 12, we're going to have to get considerably bigger. And it didn't happen last year. They didn't really do much through the transfer portal this year. Like, BYU doesn't really seem to be.
Yeah, I see where Cody's going with this. Again, this is what I was talking about. That middle of the schedule, pretty manageable because BYU you don't anticipate to take a massive step forward. We had Bomber on the show a couple weeks ago. I mean, there's some reasons for optimism, but not a whole lot of reason to expect BYU to take a massive step forward. And then, of course, you've got Baylor still in the same situation they were as before. Go ahead, Cody. Got you back now.
Baylor's a mess, dude. Yeah. Baylor's an absolute disaster, right?
Even hiring Gary Patterson
as a special
consultant won't save them.
What they built there is awesome, but they can't get butts in the seats. It doesn't matter if they win a Big 12 title or they're number 5 in America. They still don't sell out their stadium. If I'm a coach, right, that's worth my weight in gold, I ain't going to Baylor until Baylor can understand the formula of how to get the fans to support everything. That blows my mind. Baylor's a waste. And I think that the transfer they got, I think DeQuan Finn from Toledo is the real deal. I think he's a very good quarterback, but I think he's going to get wasted at Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you, here's an example for your talking about Baylor's attendance right here is in 2022, the Hypno-Toad in a Hurry game, right? Baylor, you would think Baylor hosting TCU's on an undefeated season. You would think that's an easy sellout for Baylor. They want to beat TCU more than anything. It's a massive rivalry. There were so many TCU people there, man, because they had a promo code that got leaked to Twitter that all the TCU fans were like, hell yeah, it's an hour drive down to Waco. Let me spend $5 on a ticket. That's what me and my friends did. We were like, let's go. Impromptu road trip down to Baylor. So glad that I did. But there was no Baylor people there. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? If you can't get up for a TCU game in this season, like, what are you even doing? When are you going to get up for a game? It just, it makes me so mad. Once again, I go back to 1995. Why did these jabronis get added into the Big 12 over TCU? I'll never understand it. All right. We were both equally bad. We had just won a share of the Southwest Conference in 94. There was equal apathy in the fan bases. Just because Ann Richards is the governor, they get the invite. But whatever. I think it worked out for us all right in the end. So middle of the schedule is manageable. And then what do you think about that November? I agree with you that Colorado at the end of the season, much more manageable than at the beginning. But what do you think about Tech and TCU there?
Okay, so if I were to pick 3 losses out of the schedule, it would be Utah. Yeah.
Tim doesn't agree with you.
It would be Utah. It would be at K-State, and then it would be at TCU.
Okay.
West Virginia, if we were on the road, I think would be in big trouble. But since we do have them at home, after a lot of preparation because we have a bye built in there as well, right around that range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we should be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, TCU, I think TCU is going to be the real deal this year. I think Kansas State is always going to be a problem, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm glad we get West Virginia at home.
Yeah.
Utah, I'm glad we have them at home. I think it's so early in the season that they will be healthy and they should be prepared. And like you said, Gundy does slip up early in the year pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to get the slip up game out of the way, it's okay if the slip up game is Utah or K-State or West Virginia.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm thrilled that we have Oklahoma State at home, because one thing that I have learned about this TCU Oklahoma State series is when all things are being equal, when both teams are on relatively equal footing, the home team is going to win that game. I mean, because Stillwater is an insanely difficult place to play. I was an equipment manager with TCU. We went there my senior year, our first year in the Big 12, and I was like, oh my God,
awesome.
This is miserable. It's great. I've been there as a fan and as a member of the team. As a fan, it's a blast. And Oklahoma State people are fun and they're nice. But as the opposing team, it's so uncomfortable. The fans are right on top of you. There's not enough room on the sidelines. It's miserable, right? And
there's a perfect amount of room on the sidelines, buddy. It's nice and cozy. It's nice and cozy.
Cozy's a good word. Cozy's a good word. But it's a whole different vibe playing Oklahoma State in Stillwater versus getting them in Fort Worth. And again, if both of us end up being as good as we could be next year, then I feel a lot better about that game being at home. So Tim asked a question earlier. I said we were putting a pin in it. I want to make sure I come back to it. So he's wanting to know who you see, Cody, as playing in the Big 12 championship next year, this coming year.
I think Oklahoma State and KU have a really good shot at it. I really do. And again, I think Utah's good enough. I just really see their depth being tested at the end of the year and it being something that they're not quite prepared for. Outside of those two, I do think obviously TCU and Arizona are going to be interesting teams to watch as well.
Okay, Big 12 championship dark horse. I'll be happy with 8 wins, brother. I just want us to make a bowl game personally after last year. But so Kansas has been my darling. I really like Kansas. I think Oklahoma State has a really good shot. I actually totally agree with you. But I can tell you this, Utah has definitely positioned themselves as the heel of the conference. I don't think a lot of people are going to be rooting for them to make the title game in their first season.
They've tried really hard. I've never seen a fan base try so hard to be like OU. And I've tried to tell people there's some great Utah people out there, but I'm like, guys, that's not the prize that you think that it is, right?
Yes.
Right? It's just like when Utah's hooting and hollering about winning the Pac-12, and I have to remind people, it's like the same thing as winning the world's tallest midget award. It's something, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's just Utah's a wild ride. But I do think that they are going to get a little dose of reality when it comes to the depth.
Some of us have actually won Rose Bowls, okay? Some of us. All right, it's not impressive just to go. So stop bragging about it, right? You also don't have the coolest Rose Bowl helmet. Get out of here. All right. So I got a game for you, Cody. We're gonna close this thing out with a very cowboy themed game. I want us to sit here and consider all of the greatest songs about cowboys. We're gonna make a tier list together. All right, I've got this set up for us. 20 songs that immediately came to my mind that are explicitly about cowboys. All right, and we're gonna rank all of these songs. You know how tier lists work, everybody out there. S tier is the absolute best. A, B, C, D obviously is self-explanatory. And this is not a judgment on. I don't believe all of these songs are quality songs. If I forgot a cowboy song, I apologize. This is not an extensive list. This is just the first 20 songs that came to my mind that mention cowboys specifically. All right. So, and I will defer to you for the ranking because, you're the guest on the show. I'll of course give my opinion as well. Let's start out with the late, great Oklahoma native himself, Toby Keith, with Should Have Been a Cowboy. Where are you putting Should Have Been a Cowboy on the tier ranking of cowboy songs?
Bro, you know what, buddy? I was going to tell you before you even start, you need to put Toby Should Have Been a Cowboy at the very, very, very top. Because as you know, every time you leave Boone Pickens Stadium, you get to hear that beautiful music on your way out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolute S tier.
Yeah.
Easy, easy. And, it's a shame he's an Oklahoma Sooner fan, or was, but he wrote a dang good song. That's for darn
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, but at least he's an Okie. At least he's an Okie.
Well, and we'll bring it back to a guy who actually is an Oklahoma State Cowboy, Garth Brooks. This is Good Ride Cowboy. This is his tribute to Chris Ledoux song. You familiar with the song?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes. So Good Ride Cowboy. Good Ride. Yes. I can't play any of these songs because I don't want this video to get demonetized.
Yeah.
But we'll do a little karaoke here on the show. So where are you putting Good Ride Cowboy?
It's all right. Yeah, he's in the S tier.
He's in the S tier. Okay, yeah. I mean, if for no other reason, just that he is an Oklahoma State Cowboy, right?
You got to put it up, man. Put it up there in the S section.
Yes. Okay. We'll go in order from here on out. So, Big and Rich and this utterly 2003 album cover, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. What's your opinion on the Big and Rich classic?
You know what? It's pretty good lyrically in and of itself. It deserves to be in the A classification, even if musically, right? Maybe you need a little bit more lyrically. You got to put it at least in the A category.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that being an A tier. I mean, it's definitely
and it's a quality message, right? It is. Well, it's a love story of just trying to get people to understand you can help PETA save the horses.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's really that easy.
Come on.
It truly is that easy.
We're about that life.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Marty Robbins' classic El Paso, out in the West Texas town of El Paso. All right. So we're bringing it now to Texas, finally. Where are you a fan of Marty Robbins?
Yeah.
Or do you even know the song, Cody?
I like the song, but I would put it down probably in the C category.
Oh my goodness!
What?
Wow!
Yeah,
blasphemy!
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you're the guest. We'll put it in C. I do not condone this. The views expressed by Cody do not necessarily represent the views of the Biggest 12 show. I just want to put that out there.
That's great.
Okay, good gravy. Well, all right. Cody says C tier. We'll put Marty Robbins down in C tier. All right. So I got Leanne Rimes for Cattle Call right here. The classic song, her remake of it. I guess this would have been in the 90s that Leanne Rimes is yodeling and doing the cattle call. Where would you put that?
Well, my mom would punch me in the back of the head if I didn't at least put her in the B category here, buddy.
Okay. So it's a B tier for you?
Yeah.
I put that one A, but again, yeah, we're deferring to you. I'm pretty sure my mom's in the chat. She's probably a little upset that one's in B tier too. All right. Bon Jovi, Wanted Dead or Alive. I'm a cowboy. Bow. All right. Where are we putting Bon Jovi on the list?
No. D.
D. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, put it down there.
Yes, on a steel horse he rides all the way down to the D tier. Keeping it in the classic rock realm, Back in the Saddle by Aerosmith. This is not the classic trail song. This is Steve Tyler screaming that he's back.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you putting this one?
Yeah, I gotta go A here.
A tier. Okay. A tier for Aerosmith.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Things are looking okay right now. Johnny Cash, Ghost Riders in the Sky. I mean, come on, do it for me, Cody. Where are you putting this one?
Yeah, you have to at least put him in the A tier, or you get, or you can probably get kicked out of any town in America. Yeah, you have to at least go A tier, or you're getting booted.
Okay,
booted from any bar anywhere.
I'm gonna overrule you. I'm gonna put this one S tier. I mean, this is too cowboyish. Yeah, that Ghost Riders in the Sky, absolute classic. It's utterly Western.
I'm with it.
You hear the song, you're like, why am I not wearing a cowboy hat right now? Right? Okay. Carrie Underwood, the song that she may or may not have written about Tony Romo, Cowboy Casanova. Where are you putting this one?
Like C.5.
C.5. Okay, yeah. We'll make sure Marty Robbins is in front of her, but okay, I'm fine with that being in C tier. All right, this is another one where if you don't answer this one right, I'm gonna feel some type of way about you, Cody. Cowboy Take Me Away by the artist formerly known as the Dixie Chicks.
The song's great. I'll leave it at that. The song's great. Now. So you can put it as you can put it in the A. You can put it in the A.
This isn't S tier for you?
That's fair.
This isn't S tier for you, Cody? I love this song.
I'm not putting it in the S tier, man.
Okay.
No.
I mean, hey, if you ask me,
can't do it.
The Dixie Chicks, every Dixie Chicks song from the 90s was a certified banger, okay? They did not put out a single bad song for an entire decade. I will jam to every single Dixie Chicks song. Zero shame about it. They were impeccable. And then
they sing great. They just don't talk so well.
Well, right, yeah. Well, and coincidentally, after they got political, it seemed all of their music just really kind of circled the drain as well, which is just very bizarre.
Weird.
Okay,
it's weird.
So a couple of George Strait songs, the King of Texas. I understand you're an Oklahoma man, but first, George Strait, Cowboys Like Us. Where are you putting this one?
Got to yes, man.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah,
you got to do it.
Yeah. Yes, and the second George Strait song. I mean, honestly, like I feel like 99% of George Strait songs you could say are a cowboy song. I don't have Amarillo by Morning on here because my rules was it's got to be they got to mention a cowboy specifically. So I've got The Cowboy Rides Away as my other George Strait song here. What do you think about this one?
Throw it in the A. Throw it in the A.
Throw it in the A tier. Okay, so you like Cowboys Like Us better than Cowboy Rides Away. All right. Okay, Glenn Campbell, Like a Rhinestone Cowboy. Where are you putting this one?
Yeah, you got to put it in the S, buddy.
Oh, S tier. Okay.
Supreme, superlative, stupendous, whatever. Throw it up there.
I'm actually just now checking in on some of the comments. Okay. Well, my mom agrees with you. Dixie Chicks is A, not S. Wow, learning things about my mom here tonight. Very interesting. So, Chris Ledoux, This Cowboy's Hat. You're familiar with this song, right?
Yeah, all the way up.
S tier?
All the way up.
Okay, all right. I'm fine with that one. All right, now a major departure from everything else we've looked at. Lil Nas X and Old Town Road featuring Billy Ray Cyrus. Where do you land on Lil Nas X?
Can you put him over here in the comments section?
But like not on the list at all?
Does he fit over here? Nah, you got to go way to the right.
all the way over. Okay. So we got a couple of Space Cowboys next. First, Steve Miller Band's version of Space Cowboy. How you feel about Steve Miller Band?
Put it in the B. Put it in the B.
B tier. Okay. And then Casey Musgraves, You Can Have Your Space Cowboy. Where are you putting this one?
I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew that song. So I would not feel safe putting this anywhere.
You haven't heard this song?
Nah, I don't think so. Man. Or if I have, I don't recall it off the top of my head.
Well, check out this album. This is a good album. I like Casey Musgraves. I think she's one of maybe like 2 or 3 country artists currently active that I enjoy listening to. That I would actually consider country music. We'll leave her in the B right there in the middle since you haven't heard the song, but that's your homework now. Okay, Next, I have Desperado by the Eagles.
Yeah, A. S.
S tier? Okay. S tier.
No, words are hard for me sometimes. Yeah, S tier.
S tier. Okay, great. Are we feeling good about this order in the S tier, by the way? Do we need to reorder any of these?
I would put, yeah, you definitely got to bump the Eagles over right after Johnny for sure.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. Okay, now a couple of Willie Nelson songs. First, My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. This one makes me think of my father-in-law. God rest his soul. Where would you put My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys? Give me an S, Cody. Come on. Did I lose you?
I mean,
okay.
It's a good message. It's the right message.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd probably say A.
Okay.
Play it safe in A.
Okay. All right. A tier. And then last but not least, Willie and Waylon, Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. This is the Oklahoma Sooners anthem.
Yeah, so again, musically amazing. Lyrically, it deserves to go over where Lil Nas X is. But you know what? Musically, we can throw it in the B section. That's fine. That's fair.
In the B section. Okay. All right. All right. So, folks, there you have it. Cody, from an Oklahoma State Cowboy himself, the official tier list for Cowboy-related songs. All right. So, and looking now at the comments, let's see. Steve Miller Band, lots of Dixie Chicks conversation going on over here. Okay. Perfect. So, yeah, great job, Cody. Appreciate you playing along with that one. So it's been a fun show.
Hey, man, thanks for bearing with my crap.
No, yeah, thank you for coming on, Cody. Let the people know where to find you. Tell them about your show. They're going to want to subscribe to that as well. Plug everything that you want to plug, my friend.
Yeah, so I'll just go check my show out, Locked On Oklahoma State, on all of your podcasting platforms, also on YouTube. You can go track down some of my nonsense on X, aka Twitter, at All Day O State, and then it's O State All Day on the other socials as well. I like to keep it pretty light, easy, fun, and then I'm in Texas a lot. I do some recruiting and scouting for Prospect Sports as well. So.
Love it, man. Yes, check out Locked On OSU. I'm surprised we didn't have Wet Blanket show up in the chat tonight. He's usually our resident Oklahoma State cowpoke, but surely he already watches your show. Surely, if he's a man of any culture whatsoever. So yes, this has been the Biggest 12. Thank y'all so much for tuning in on an odd night at an odd time. Appreciate y'all being here. There's more of y'all. I mean, we actually had a pretty decent audience tonight, actually, all things considered. Maybe it's the Cody Stovall effect. Maybe it's the anticipation. Who's to say? Whatever it was a fun show. Make sure you're liking and subscribing and sharing the show at Big 12 Voice of College Football. That's VOCFB. You know you'll find us here every single Tuesday night on the Biggest 12. We got a lot more Big 12 content on the channel that you will not want to miss. Joey Foster, for example, hosting the Big 12 Fan Zone. Plenty of other shows. And next week, be sure you tune in next week. Let me double check my dates here so I can remember exactly who we have coming on next week. Okay, yes, next week it's Iowa State night. All right, it's gonna get corny around here. You won't want to miss that one. Also, please follow me on Twitter as well at Clint_Foster55 and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Clint Foster Comedy. Got a new video out. Baylor hiring Gary Patterson. Check that one out if you haven't already. It's a good laugh, and I'm almost done with my Big 12 rivalry draft script. As soon as I have enough time on a weekend, I will get that one done. Those tend to be a little bit more involved. But thank y'all so much for being here again. Have a fantastic night, a fantastic rest of your week. I hope your team wins. And go Big 12, baby.